women in general. Women in general, one trend is that we are always juggling so many roles. We are working. Whether a woman goes to office or not, she's still working, right? You're working at home, you're working in office, you're managing your kids, you're looking after your homes. If there are elderly in the house to take care of, you might be taking care of that as well, right? So with juggling so many roles, I feel that the common resort is that the moment you get some time back for yourself, it goes into that me time zone. So one of the common things that we are hearing a lot these days is PCOD is an issue. Irregular periods is something a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it is prevalent, very, very prevalent. Within a month or maximum by 2 months, we have seen reports of the periods being regularized. So that is the beauty which comes again, the zone to exercising. The second most favorite for me is the period pain reducing.
Physical activity improves hormonal balances in women many cases. In medical studies, we say that physical activity improves mental health as well.
For those 30 minutes or rather 1 hour when they're in the class, right, they literally forget everything. I have had women reporting less fights with spouse, better temperament control with the kids, because the mothers are happier, the kids are happier.
Right. The kid is happy, mother is happy.
Absolutely.
And the mother is happy, father is very happy.
Exactly.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode of our podcast series Gut Feeling with Dr.Pal. In this episode, we have a very interesting guest. Her name is Deepti and she has a channel called Dance with Deepti. And she teaches dance workout, slightly different from dance Zumba. And she has millions of followers and she has inspired many people. I know that our channel demographics include women a lot as well. So I want her to inspire you to make sure that you adopt some kind of physical activity. That could be a dance Zumba, that could be a dance workout. How do you start? Where do you begin? In case if you have not done anything, is it safe to do? Is it you have to go to a studio or should you just watch virtually on a YouTube link? We discussed a lot about the importance of physical activity. What is zone 2 cardio? How do you reach zone 2 in dance? And what are the things that you should do to make sure that that movement emphasizes hormonal balance, especially your coordination between estrogen, progesterone, and also other hormones including insulin and melatonin. So physical movement is absolutely important, and I hope that this podcast will inspire you to adopt some kind of physical activity, maybe dance workout, and you will get the benefits of the exercise recommendation by the American Heart Association. I am so happy for this episode. Let's dive deep into it. Hi Deepti, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pal, for having me here. Really appreciate it.
So nice of you to come here, and we're a huge fan of your channel, okay? Because I do something called dancing.
Oh, I saw you how you celebrated your 100-day challenge, and I was so impressed and happy that it's a dance that you celebrated with. So I was so happy. I even messaged you on Instagram about it.
Thank you. You have been a wonderful motivator, inspirational for especially women to get into physical activity. So right off the bat, I really want to ask you, based on your experience, why is physical activity is not a part of the life in Indian community basically. But when we go outside, we see that physical activity is slightly more common than that has become a part of the life. Correct. So I want to focus on the women part of it, where at least men have some kind of, when you go to gym, we see men and everything, but women, I think they have this feeling that, okay, so we are taking care of the house, we're taking care of the whole family, we don't have time for ourselves. So is that what you're seeing in your community as well?
I live in Germany, so yes and no. It's a mix of both. But yes, from the background that I come, because after all, coming from the Indian side, I feel, let me talk about women in general. Women in general, one trend is that we are always juggling so many roles, right? We are working. Whether a woman goes to office or not, she's still working, right? Yes. You're working at home, you're working in office, you're managing your kids, you're looking after your homes. If there are elderly in the house to take care of, you might be taking care of that as well, right? So with juggling so many roles, I feel that the common resort is that the moment you get some time back for yourself, it goes into that me time zone. And that's why I always feel that I think fitness is generally competing with the
The me time.
Netflix and
Correct.
Amazon Primes, right?
Yes.
Because me time is still that time where you want to just sit down and unwind. You would not think of another active zone to engage that time into.
Correct,
And I
correct.
think that's the part we're trying to deal with, is that how do you make workouts entertaining enough that they become your me time than resorting to, alternatives.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think the me time is absolutely critical. So I have done a couple of reels before where I said that, this is my me time.
Yeah.
Where I go to dance Zumba, and then it's a funny story that I got into dance in my PhD Medical College, Coimbatore. It's not that I don't dance that well.
We saw you, so you do.
So the reason that I got into dancing, there was a teacher who came and then who trained us for the cultural program. Okay, so every student needs to pay 250 rupees to be raising funds for that batch cultural programs.
Okay.
Okay, and the only criteria to join the dance was because I paid 250 rupees, I need to go somewhere.
Whatever works.
So that's where it started. So while I was doing it, I said, I like music.
Yeah.
So I was doing it, good. Even there were two kinds of dances, tier 1, tier 2. Okay, tier 1, they do very well. So there were like 5 men, 5 boys and 5 girls. They are like doing wonderful dancing. So they are all like main stage dancers. We are all side stage dancers. So we are all folk dancers. So they always...
As long as you're moving, you're still good.
Yes, of course. So that's how I got into dance and something, right? Whatever.
Nice.
So I liked that everything. Then after a while, I didn't do anything at all. So then I came here to US, and then I started seeing these Zumba classes. So I really wanted to go, but I couldn't see a single man in the Zumba class at that time. Now it is getting better. So I was like, okay, good. This is not my time. So the question I wanted to ask you is, so when, let's say, women are seeing, so basically dance Zumba has become a part of a mainly women's thing. Is there a role for a man as well in dance Zumba?
Okay. So
let me tell you about medical standpoint. Medical standpoint, any movement is good, of
Yes,
course, right?
yes.
So if a man likes dance or workout, of course. But we always have the hesitancy that, how do I come and join the dance Zumba class, which is predominantly occupied by women?
Right. So one thing before I will talk about dance workouts, I will first thing separate that one misconception a lot of people have is that I do Zumba. Okay. So I don't do Zumba. They have their own style, they have their own forte, and they have their own principles by which they run the workouts.
So what is
right?
Zumba then?
So the way Zumba runs is that at least the part of the training that I've seen them, there is an orientation around the dance forms, right? The training is around the dance forms. And yes, it does have a fitness element, but the way I would like to separate Dance with Deepti from traditional Zumba is that my workouts are focused heavily around being not just dance cardios, but they go into the aerobic zone of cardio. And the way I would like to simplify it is that aerobic zone is a zone where you don't go that high intensity. You stay in a steady state for a much longer time to get all the medical benefits out of the workout that you're doing. So we call it the zone 2. And the zone 2 is where you're playing with your heart rate in such a way that you can keep it in a range of 50 to 70% of your peak heart rate, right? So this is the zone that I play in, and that's why my dance workouts, I would love to say that they are designed in a very scientific manner to be first workouts and then dance. So coming to your question around men in the house, right? I think even though you'll see men dancing, come to India, you play music on the street, just see who are the first people dancing,
Correct.
right? It's not that men don't dance. You play a dhol and they will start dancing on the street, right? Nagin dance being the most popular.
Right.
It doesn't qualify yet as dance workout, but we're trying, okay? But what I would say is that if we make it too dancey, and this is the part I steer away from.
I see.
So when I design my workouts, the workouts are designed first as workouts. So you will see a lot of toe touching. You will see a lot of elbow to knee. You will see a lot of forward bends, back bends. You will see hand raises. These are movements which are very, very traditional cardio movements, you can qualify. Sometimes I take a lot of inspiration even from yoga. So you will see me do a chair pose and go elbow to knee. And this is all framed so beautifully and synchronized with music. So what I do is I'll take the best of all forms, make it a lot more workout than dance, thereby making it more comfortable for even men to join
I
and
see.
dance. So
I
we
see.
do have a lot of men in our followership
I see.
who have benefited
I
and
see.
seen, and they feel comfortable
I see.
because it is not thumkas and latka jatka or
Right.
a very dancey movement. It
Right.
is focused around the workouts more.
Tell us about this aerobic exercise of reaching a zone 2.
Yeah.
So during dance, how do we know that we are in that heart rate?
That is the job of the creator. I think I'll take a little bit of credit on that
Of course.
because one of the things that is very common in the way I operate is that I don't do single song dance workouts. Okay? Because when you do just one song at a time, you're operating at a 3-minute interval, right? You're just doing a 3-minute. So you can peak and drop, and it is more oriented around the choreography of the song. What I do is routines. So you will always see me do a 30-minute routine. When I do my 30-minute interval routine, I know how I'm going to start with a nice warm up. I take the people into engaging all parts of the body. So it is very scientifically designed. And I know where I need to raise the heart rate, where I need to drop it. And I even mix my own music more often than not. So that will make sure that the entire routine is synchronized. The synchronization will ensure that at any point in time where we have taken the people too high, we always follow it up in such a way that I will manage the heart rate. So it's by design.
By design.
Yeah.
By design. So zone 2 is usually what we say to patients is that that is the active aerobic exercise zone
Yeah.
where you get maximum oxygen and water, as you
Absolutely.
said. Energy level is being dispelled. So that is what American Heart Association is recommending, 150 minutes per week.
Very high, very high.
Very
and
high.
tremendous health benefits around it.
Correct.
Because you brought American Health Association. There are a lot of, scientific studies, and there is a consistent message you will keep hearing about aerobic zone and how that 150 minutes per week can not just bring your lipid profiles into control,
Correct.
your diabetes and your glucose levels into control, but we've seen tremendous benefit on hormonal balance as well.
Yes.
So we have a lot of stories around that as
Is
well.
that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Let me ask you that story really for sure. But what I was about to say was, I had a patient who had high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. And physical activity is shown to decrease blood pressure. And I have told him so many times to do something, and he has never done anything until then. So I said that I showed my video that, look at this, I am doing dance. I mean, I should say dance Zumba. That's what I did. So he said, oh, if you can do it, I can also do it. So
That is very positive.
so he
role
went
modeling.
there, and then we were completely amazed. In 6 months,
Yeah.
we were able to decrease the medication by 50% of the dosage.
Absolutely.
And I think that gives the sense of satisfaction that they are physically active. And invariably, that method of discipline and habit is being transferred into their dietary habits as well, even if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Because they're putting some effort into physical activity, they don't want to get that wasted.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people support that. That the moment you get into a workout rhythm, and it happens a lot in our practice as well, because we also have Zoom classes running and we train people on a regular basis. There are several thousand of people who are training with us on a daily basis. We start at the point of getting them active first. So when they come to us, we first traditionally start them with being active. Once you understand the joy and happiness of how workouts can be such a good positive experience, I think then they start seeing the body respond, and then they want to build on it.
Yes.
And then it is much easier for them to adhere to a diet or a lifestyle pattern which will further support their results. So it's been a very successful model for us as well.
Nice, absolutely. And please share the experience of the hormonal balance history that you're about to say.
Oh, yeah. So what we've seen, because we, a lot of women followers that we have, right? So one of the common things that we are hearing a lot these days is PCOD is an issue. Irregular periods is something a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it is prevalent, very, very prevalent. What we have seen is that the moment we get them into a the moment we get them into a regular schedule, within a month or maximum by 2 months, we have seen reports of the periods being regularized. So that is the beauty which comes again, the zone to exercising, the blood circulation that you
Right.
get, the cleansing of the system, and how the hormones start playing in balance just by virtue of the rhythm. One is the nature of the workouts, and the second is the discipline that comes with it. We've seen very, very good results, and we have so many stories about the periods getting regularized, which is a very big thing. The second most favorite for me is the period pain reducing, which is
During the
where I got even more interested around, what exactly are the workouts. And that's where we start doing the backward study. Even though I'm not very scientific, but when I try to study the evidence around, what are the things happening in a traditional workout setup, I came across this very interesting concept where the muscles are working as an endocrine organ. So the moment you start moving the muscle, interleukin 6 is the element,
inflammatory marker.
yeah. When it gets released, it has healing properties, which is, really going ahead and healing the system inside. So I feel that has a big role to play. Still, the studies are on. I think there's a lot more study that needs to be done in that area, but huge benefits in terms
In
of the
terms of-
movement and,
Of course,
the frequency.
For the PCOS, the main thing is PCOS is not a disease.
It's not.
It's a syndrome.
Exactly.
A syndrome means that the hormonal imbalance is happening on multiple levels.
Yes.
Insulin, progesterone, estrogen, and everything. So
Yeah.
all the three are not talking to each other, and they're not talking to the brain,
Yeah.
and the connection is way haywire. What is happening in terms of movement is the hormones needs three things: sleep, movement, and water. So movement and water comes along while you are exercising, and when you exercise, you will be tired that you will have to sleep anyways.
Right.
So we have seen so many times that physical activity improves hormonal balances in
Yeah.
women. Many cases.
Absolutely.
In medical studies, we say that physical activity improves mental health as well.
Yeah.
As a dancer and with so much of experience with so many students, have you seen this dancing improving the mood?
Oh, yeah. In fact, because again, as you said, right, we started off the conversation on the women topic, right? Why so many women are steering away from physical. The beauty of, a good workout is that energy that it provides you for the rest of the day. And I think we take it very seriously, that part. We make it so joyful, but we also take it very seriously, right? That it has to be an experience that you want to return back to. So our biggest investment, where Dance with Deepti has invested the most, is that how to bring that happiness back into workouts, right? The moment you bring that happiness back, people are more likely to come back. They start enjoying the experience. The moment they start enjoying the experience, it's like that the good film that you watch, right? Suspension of reality. For those 30 minutes or rather 1 hour when they're in the class, right? They literally forget everything.
Right.
You forget all your worries. I have had women reporting less fights with spouse, better temperament control with with the kids, because the mothers are happier, the kids are happier.
Right.
And we have a lot of kid followership where I've heard of stories where they write to me and they say that my kid wouldn't let me play any other video, and they say we want Deepti on the screen.
Right,
So I think somewhere the format that we use has not just worked for the mothers, but even the kids dance along.
Right.
They join in. The steps are very, very simple. They're designed for almost everybody.
Of course.
So kids can do it. We have everybody from a 6. I think the youngest follower I have is like 1.5 years. They start moving along with the mother. The youngest person who has featured on my video is 4 years old. And she could literally follow every single step that we did, and it was very impressive and very comforting for me to see that if a 4-year-old to a 80-year-old, everybody can do the routine.
Right.
That is very powerful.
Right.
That invites not just the women to do it, but the whole family gets involved.
Yes.
I think that stress comes from, feeling in control.
Right.
And I think we have given the control back to the women. So
Of course. The kid is happy, mother is happy.
absolutely.
And the mother is happy, father is very happy.
Exactly. And, the beauty of it is that now that me time is not isolated. When your me time can be shared with a kid, moving around with you, and you're still enjoying yourself and the kids are enjoying, I think that's like a mini vacation, right? For an hour, you can go on a vacation while you're at home. it really de-stresses you out. So I
Got it.
think that's an area we've heard a lot
Lot
about,
about, yeah.
and we've got some very, very good results
Good
and
results.
response on that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. We were saying, where do we start as a
Where do we
beginner?
start as a beginner? So when I started my journey, and I prepared for my first class, I started the class with certain expectations, right? I was very well prepared for the class, and I wanted to do it in a certain way. I had it all choreographed,
Right.
only to realize that none of those four people, there were just four people in the class, none of them could follow what I was doing. And that is where the beginner mindset came in. So it was that early. It was in my first class that I realized what it means to work with beginners. And that is something I hold very close to my heart. And the attempt that we have is that 30 minutes should be doable. I can challenge you right now that if I give you a video of mine today, or to this entire crew here, right? If we play the video, almost all of them will be able to follow the video. That is the level of confidence. Another way I reinforce this and make sure that I stay in my beginner supportive mindset is that I always record my workouts live. So I play the music, the camera's on, and when we do it end to end, we don't stop. We do a 30-minute end-to-end workout. And all the people behind me are not trained. They're all real people. They could be in any city that I visit. I'm recording in a random city with my followers. And we don't choose people. Whoever comes for the recording will be behind me. There is no training session. It is all live.
I see.
So when they follow me live, I know that that gives me the comfort that anybody can do my workouts. So for a beginner, you give dance with Deepti, I'm very sure they'll be able to
Right.
follow.
So they can just do, for example.
It's by design.
It's by design.
Doability is by design.
Okay. So while you were doing dance, no, is dancing is a form of strength training? Yes or no?
I make sure it is. And that's another differentiator we have. So what I would observe a lot is that when dance workouts become too dancey, you're so focused on the dance element that you miss the workout part of it. And then it's very hard to manage, the scientific aspects, right? That's where I reverse the theory and I say that, when I say I design the workout first and then dance, I make sure that you're getting some 30 squats without you even realizing, right? And that is like, if I make you count the same, I think, the mindset takes over that, oh my God, I have to do 30 squats. And you're like, okay, let's get this done with. But when you're doing it as part of the routine and the music is playing and everything is you're already, the adrenaline rush is in your favor.
It moves
and they're
fast.
like, oh, it's so good. And we do Jhumka squats where we do steps which are inspired from dance, but you're essentially doing a full squat. We go into deep squats, we do floor touches, we do everything.
I see.
But the beauty is that you'll do that just for the spirit of it. How, you can dance in a party all night without realizing that you're tired. We have leveraged that for our workouts. So yes, we do a lot of strength training inspired workouts. We do a lot of yoga inspired elements in our workout to make sure that you're not just dancing and using your heart and lungs to a capacity. We're also engaging a lot of muscle.
That's all.
And there's a lot of discipline in the terms of, if I ask you to reach from an elbow to the knee, you have to bend.
Correct.
You have to crunch at the belly, right? So we make sure that the movement is large enough to engage multiple muscle groups at the same time. It's compound movements. So I do a lot of mix. And that's where I take a little bit more pride in the way I choreograph my routines to make sure the workout element never fades away.
Oh, nice. So we talked about the benefits of dance and physical activity in general.
Yeah.
And then you were saying that, we can combine strength training with the dance thing as well.
Absolutely.
And we talked about the aerobic range of zone 2. One point I forgot to mention is in that 150 minutes per week, where they talk about, when you summarize, it comes around 2.5 hours per week. That 2.5 hours can be even on a single sitting. Or it could be split across like 30 minutes over 5 days. So they're giving an option. Okay, whatever you want, you can do it. So that is something I tell my patient is, okay, you have only 1 day off. So you could just plan accordingly, but I want you 150 minutes anyways. And one of the physician was, while I was interviewing, he was recommending that if you are able to have a normal conversation with somebody else while doing an activity, then it is not zone 2.
Okay.
So you have to exert yourself in
Yeah.
a way where you cannot have a normal conversation over the phone.
Yeah.
So that is what is happening.
Absolutely.
And do you recommend that people have like a smartwatch or monitoring the heart rate during any of your physical activity, or in general?
So I'll like to discuss on the part that you just discussed, right? When you say that the recommended minutes, I think we're making it too mechanical, right? I know everybody likes a guideline, but I feel that in whenever we talk about guidelines, we might be missing the spirit of why we are doing the workout. For me, workouts are not just about weight loss, it's not just about staying active, but it is the end result, right? Where you're thinking about how it is benefiting your health. At the end of the day, we all want to age gracefully. I think that was my trigger when I started and I saw 80-year-olds who are still trying to take their walks, right? In Europe, it is very common that at 80-year-old,
Yes.
an 80-year-old woman, well dressed, it's raining, she has an umbrella and she makes it a point to complete her walk for the day. That hit me so hard that, what would I be doing at 80 years, right? And that is my base inspiration of where I wanted to start my fitness journey, because it's not about today. Today I'm fit and fine, right? But what about 40 years from now? How will I be dealing with myself, right? So one thing I would say is that when you split the 150 minutes,
Correct.
that is a base minimum. I would encourage more, of course.
Correct.
But even if you can get a base 150 minutes, right? Spreading it out every single day. What it's going to do for you is it's going to get your blood circulation every single day. It's going to get your muscles moving every single day. So the beauty of that is that, body is an adapting machine. The way you use it, the way, you adapt it, and the way, it adapts itself, right? So when you do something every single day, let's take the example of heart, right? When we are training in the cardio zone, in the aerobic zone, I'm training your heart,
Yes.
I'm training your lungs,
Yes.
and I'm training your muscles. When you give a dose every single day, that 30 minutes, the heart is building the capacity every single day. The moment you drop that routine, so you come to class on a weekend and the whole week you have not moved yourself, right? And you come to class and you do 2.5 hours. Your heart is barely trying to catch up with what you're trying to achieve here, right? And then what you do is you go into a slump. So it's like a peak and then you go down to zero, you stay in zero and again peak.
Right.
So if you ask my recommendation, I would highly recommend that please treat your body better. Give yourself a daily dose, because the daily dose is slowly allowing your heart the time to adapt to the new rhythm. Every day it gets better.
Right.
So there are people who may not be able to do my routine more than 10 minutes on day one. I guarantee them that by the end of 2 weeks, they will finish the end-to-end 30 minutes without stopping, even for water.
But it's some people will. I mean, I'm speaking from there, and that okay. How do I get 30 minutes every day? I'm already so busy.
The way you get your time to shower every day, the way you get time to brush every day, the way you never miss your boss's meeting. If your boss puts a meeting, you will show up no matter how busy you are, right? So when you put a priority, if there's a medical condition in the house, right? If somebody has a medical issue, you will take out time to address
Correct.
that, right? So I feel that a lot of things that we say we can't do is mostly a question of time management, right? There was a time, like being in fitness, I do a lot more things, right? I have a team of trainers, I have a lot of mentoring, I do health plans, so I'm doing a lot of calls throughout the day where we're doing consultations throughout the day. So we have a very busy schedule, and then over and above I have to work on doing my creation.
Great.
Right? Creativity is a very long process.
Correct.
Mixing the music,
Yes, that's
getting
not easy.
everything ready,
It's not
right?
easy,
What
yeah.
is the next best workout we can deliver? It was such a busy day that I myself could not find time to do my workouts. Being a trainer, I could not find time. What did I do? I started waking up an hour earlier. Right?
You push
Sleeping
yourself.
an hour earlier, it made me more productive. At the end of the day, it all added up. It made me much more productive. But I said, this is something that I cannot miss. And I started waking up half an hour earlier or an hour earlier in my case to just get my daily dose of, workout. I would highly encourage, I think your 100-day challenge
Yeah.
is a classic example. And I know that all the audience must be really wondering, how did you even manage
Managed to-
to squeeze that time for workout?
Right.
It was commendable.
Right.
Right? And I think you were proving a point there. I know it's very hard to do it at the level that you did.
Right.
Because you're disciplined around food, you're disciplined around workouts, you're disciplined around getting your daily work done. Everything was
Right.
happening
Ah.
throughout the 100 days,
More
right?
importantly, shooting.
Shooting. I mean,
Was such a pain.
that is the hardest thing. I know, being a creator, I know how hard, because people see the 5-10 minute, not even 5, they see the 40 seconds,
1 minute,
right?
yeah.
That 40 seconds, 1 minute, but to turn on that camera, get things running, it's very hard. But what did you show on the 100-day Gutman challenge was,
Right.
it is possible.
Possible.
What I would add to that, Dr. Pal, is that you cannot do it like how Dr. Pal did. Even if you do 60% of what Dr. Pal did, you still did very good.
Right.
So that is my recommendation for most people, that don't make fitness a stress. Use fitness to de-stress, right? Don't make that as another challenge. Yeah, challenge is a good thing. I love to run
Right,
challenges myself. But
But
the
don't
idea
stress
is
out
how to
on-
enjoy that
correct,
process, right?
correct.
You challenge yourself, but don't forget to enjoy the process.
Correct.
That is why allow yourself some errors. You say, yes, I'm going to do 100 days. You got 70 days done. You did not get 100 days done. You should
okay.
still celebrate.
Right.
Right? Because you still did good for you.
Correct.
If you had not taken this challenge, you would be doing 0, right?
I'll tell you a very important point I think the audience should take away from this is, from my 100-day Gutman challenge, the major thing I did was, the reason that I did was basically for myself.
Yeah.
So I went on my social media and I said that, okay, to all my subscribers, I'm accountable.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I say that, then I have to do it because I've been postponing this for a while.
Yeah.
So now what has happened is I stayed in the hotel last night. Never I would have imagined that I would have gone to the gym in the morning.
Wow.
So what has happened is, I think around 72nd, 73rd day, something like that. That's where I actually started noticing the dopamine, endorphin feel after workout.
Right.
I've until then, workout. I know workout is good for me, but I've never noticed the feeling. So now I am missing it.
Yeah.
So the point is, you need to push yourself to get to a stage where you will definitely miss that.
Yeah.
Until then, it is going to be a little bit stressful, little bit
Just
difficult.
to add on here is that I think I take ownership as a creator here. It's my job to make it fun for you. Right? I think what we are doing is that we're making fitness harder and harder. Right? Sometimes weights can be very intimidating. Strength training can be very intimidating. Even some of the workouts, even a dance workout can be intimidating, right? The job of us as creators is how to bring the fun back into fitness. And I take my job very seriously there, right? Why cannot we hit that dopamine rush on the day one, right? Maybe in the first week at least. Imagine if you had chosen a form that gives you that kick on week 1 and you're like, I love it. I'm enjoying this process. I think that's where one of the differentiators, and we've tried very hard to do, is that bring the fun back into fitness, right? Of course, strength training is a very important part. You can choose your cardio. I highly recommend everybody to choose something that they would really love to do. Nobody has to ask you to do it. I think somewhere, because you had a gym set up in your house, I feel that was your element, right? You just had to get back to it. It's hard with a very stressful life.
Correct.
But for people who are starting from zero, who have nowhere to go, I mean, maybe they're restricted because of their age. If somebody is restricted because of their medical condition, because of their fitness level, or because they don't know where to start, I welcome them with open hands to Dance with Deepti. Because I say that, you just turn it on and start moving. That is the basic criteria. Whereas the entry criteria is like, just start moving your body. Once you start moving your body, the body will give you that kickback, right? Because movement also releases the hormones the happy hormones that we're aware of, right? So the moment the happy hormones kick in, you feel good about yourself and you feel you've done something good for the day, right? So I think one of the suggestions for everybody would be that choose something that you naturally enjoy.
Right.
It could be dance, it could be strength training, it could be running,
Right.
it could be swimming, right? It could be many, or could be a sport. The only thing we need to take care, generally, where people go wrong very often, is that they choose too fast, too soon. Right? That's another thing. I think, luckily, because you had a semi trained body, when I observed your videos as well, I felt that you did have your forms and postures, your lines were very good
Right.
when it
Right.
comes to strength training. But if somebody blindly starts following,
Ah,
they might end up injuring themselves,
Correct.
or they might start picking up too heavy too soon.
Correct.
So, one of the other things people need to watch out for is that start easy. It's okay. Zone 2 is also one area where, people might feel it's too easy, but trust me, it works.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just about sticking around, enjoying the process. And the moment you start seeing the results, which is generally in less than a month, you will start seeing results. I think that is the further reinforcement.
Correct.
So stay safe when doing workouts and choose what you love.
Right. One practical experience is that while I was pretty big before, and I started when I was losing weight, the first thing I did was doing workout. I put YouTube workout videos,
Okay.
and it was to side lateral race. And while I was doing that, I sprained my ankle.
Exactly.
I sprained my ankle. Maybe because I didn't plan properly, or it was a carpet, or I didn't have my shoes. It was
Or
in the
your
house.
muscles were not ready.
Muscles were not ready.
Yes.
So I still remember that I had a clutch for 6 weeks because I sprained my ankle. It's not that I was not able to work out for the 6 weeks. It is just a matter, I was just preparing myself to be motivated to lose weight and everything. And then it was just a huge demotivating factor for 6 weeks.
Exactly.
And by the time everything got sorted out, again another 6 weeks, 3 months gone. In this 3 months, there was like another 3 pounds. And
Right. You lose your progress. So sometimes it happens that, especially if you lose the discipline on the diet as well,
Yes.
in parallel, because you're recovering, there is a tendency to lose the results that you got. And
will
it's
that
starting
happen
from
in
scratch.
dance? I mean,
I'll not
it's a very critical
Are you
question.
asking about Dance with Deepti or any dance?
No, this whole discussion is about gentle dance, not in your program.
Okay. So what I would recommend is that, number one, if you have weak ankles, if you have weak knees, I would highly recommend shoes. A lot of people end up, because they're doing home workouts, right? There's a tendency, very common Indian tendency, is to not wear
to wear
shoes in the house,
exactly.
right? So if you're not wearing shoes in the house, you need to have a fairly cushioned rug, or you need to use a yoga mat, which is also cushioned enough to be able to give you that, what do you call it? The cushion, basically, right? Yeah. So you're basically going for the cushioning, so that there is not too much impact.
Strain on the knees.
Too much strain and not too much impact. When we say impact in fitness, we're talking about, the hard-hitting movements, right? So I would highly recommend shoes to make sure you're doing it safely. Also, it helps to do it with trainers sometimes, right? Because if you're weak at maths, you're weak at maths, right? So you go to tuition, right? The same way, people don't want to accept it, but if you're weak at fitness and you don't know the concepts right, you need tuition. So I would recommend that find whatever you love, but try and at least do it in a way where it is done safely, because your body is too precious, and it can be one wrong movement that can just tear up your ankle or muscles. So number one, shoes. Second, don't go too fast too soon. Start slow, build the muscle strength, and then go higher.
Yeah, good, super. So my demographic is, as we talked about, 25 to 45-year-old, mainly women, who wants to improve their health. And I know that many women have danced in their college, cultural programs or something like that. And I know this because in Sacramento, where I live, whenever there's a cultural program, they dance together only in that annual event. And then they plan for practice like every weekend and like 4 or 5 weeks prior to the function. To inspire them to get back to dancing or get back to physical activity somehow. Can you share some experiences that you have had, some success in terms of women adopting physical activity, improving their physical health?
Right. In fact, we had a lot of, mostly, we also have a very dominant women followership. And there are stories after stories where I think dance is something which is very prevalent in our culture, right? People enjoy it as a
Yes.
process, right?
Yes.
Uh, so I feel that it should be fairly easy for most people to blend into a dance workout, right? Because it's something that, where you can listen to your own music. You can move with fairly simpler movements. So I think it is very effective. The good part is, number one, the energy that it gives, the energy, the happiness that comes with it. Along with it, you can get a lot of fat burn as well, right? Now that is in the dancing that we do, the dance workouts that we do. I have seen results as early as 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
It's a very good reinforcement for some people, even if they can take a 21-day challenge.
Wow.
100 days is a lot longer time. But even if you can commit yourself to just 21 days of consistently doing that one thing, on a repetitive basis, you will start seeing results. And this is true not just for our exercises, but for most exercises. You will see some marginal results. If you improve it further, build up on it, you add the diet, you add the lifestyle,
Right.
learn a little bit from Gutman as well, because I
Right.
think you've given pearls of wisdom. I think if somebody is just following you on the reels, you know that every reel has so much information, such basic things that you taught in the Gutman challenge
Right.
about maintaining your plant
Plant
points,
points.
getting your protein intake,
Right.
discipline around sleep, trying
Right.
to de-stress yourself, the meditation part.
Correct.
Very, very simple elements, Bring the dance back, bring the elements of lifestyle back, blend them nicely, and you already got something that is very easy to do.
Beautiful.
So I think it's a very good segue into, let's all challenge ourselves and try something new, right? You may like it, you may not like it. It is just 21 days of commitment. Do it and see what it gives you back.
So, Deepti, for a person who's looking into this podcast and wanting to improve their physical activity as a woman, where do they start?
Right. So the first thing I would say is that a lot of women miss the most important point is prioritizing themselves. Once you set the priority to yourself, you will make time for it.
Beautiful.
Second thing, choose something which is doable, something which is easy, because that is easy to stick to. And you will not feel the stress of commitment, right? Third thing, once you make the commitment and you are doing something which is easy, build on an environment that supports you, right? The environment could be a family that is supporting you. Maybe they join you along and you can make it a fun family activity. Or you can, if you don't find somebody in your immediate circle, which is more often the case, then find a community which is like-minded, because they will become your accountability partners and they will encourage you to come back. So if you can manage to do these, I think you will show up. Once you show up, no matter what workout you're doing, you will get results and you will do something good for yourself.
Beautiful. Wonderful. That was amazing. 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 You're doing a wonderful job. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful discussion, and thank you so much for spending the time. I'm hoping that after this podcast, at least 1% of people who are watching will do something for their body by adopting some kind of physical activity.
I really hope so. And I think you've done a fabulous job inspiring so many people.
Oh, thank you.
And we hope to take this forward, and we will do our job as the creators to make it simple, doable, and achievable.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pal, for having me.
I had so much fun talking to Deepti. I'm sure that you had fun as well. I'm hoping that you will get inspired by the discussion that we had. And if you are starting somewhere, please do something that you enjoy to start with. Start with like 10 minutes, 15 minutes right from today or tomorrow. Maybe that will create that amount of sensation in your body where you will crave for it slowly, and you can slowly increase to like 20, 30 minutes. Eventually, remember, 150 minutes per week. Start slowly somewhere. Maybe tomorrow is the day for you. Thank you for all the support. Please consider subscribing to our channel so we can give you more quality content by bringing in more experts from different fields so that we can grow together in the space of health, both physically and also mentally. Please check out my channel, Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal Shorts, and also Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal Clips, where we break the 1 hour long podcast into shorter clips and reels to highlight the salient features. If you like the audio format, please follow us in Spotify with the title Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal, and I'm hoping that you will continue the support in that platform as well. Stay tuned for more episodes. Remember, one belly at a time. It is absolutely important. I'll see you in the next video.